Hello everyone, welcome back to another episode of Football Pundits. The Premier League is finally done. There was a huge gap in the middle, and then there was everything that happened in the weeks to follow. It's all been a little whirlwind. It seems like there's been two seasons within one season. But what we're going to do today is sit down and give our best 11 of the entire season, of the 38 game weeks that have happened. The three of us are going to sit down and make our best 11. There's going to be a couple of basic rules that we're going to follow. A max of 3 players from each team to make it a little more interesting and not make it a Liverpool 11. And the second thing is going to be, it's going to be a 2v1 situation. So because the three of us, tiebreakers become sort of easy, where whichever player gets 2 votes, that one goes through. In case all of us have one each, I think I'll just pick who I think needs to be the player in that position.
I just realized, Kern, the editor decides. I edited. Your opinion doesn't
So I'm going to start with the goalkeeper. And I'm going to go with my pick in this one first. I'm going to go with Henderson. Golden Glove obviously puts him up there, but I also think he's pivotal to the way City play. He's so comfortable on the way, on the ball from playing out with the back, where you've seen keepers like De Gea struggle. Just for those couple of reasons, I think Henderson is my pick.
I think
my pick is
Nick Pope, Abby. What do you think?
Absolutely, Nick Pope, my man. And the reason why I wanted to jump in before you is because I had a feeling you would go for Nick Pope as well. So, you know what, superb. So, my reasons are very, very simple. I think Henderson had a £200 million backline in front of him. Nick Pope had a £20 million backline in front of him. Nick Pope single-handedly over the entire season, just in stats and points, given the number of clean sheets that they've had vis-a-vis Burnley's wins in the league, he has taken Burnley from what should have been a 15th or 16th place finish to, a 12th place finish to a 9th place finish. He is the reason they are in the top 10 single-handedly. They have not scored too many goals. And I think for a keeper to, again, have a 20 million backline in front of him and still achieve the same number of clean sheets as an Henderson and almost as much as Liverpool's keeper had, I think was phenomenal.
I think to just add to his point, just like the midfield and the forward line was struggling at the start of the season. Burnley weren't actually doing too well, right? In those early part of the season, Nick Pope was even more crucial than he was right now after the restart, where it seems to all of us he's done even a more phenomenal job in terms of saves. So I think it's an easy one for me right there.
So Nick Pope in goal there have been easily overturned.
Is someone keeping notes? Okay, I am.
That's where the editor comes in. At right back, I think it's going to be 3-0 over here. Don't even need to put anything in. Trent Alexander-Arnold.
Yeah, I mean, why do you discuss this even further?
Aaron Wan-Bissaka has had a phenomenal season. I think he's contributed very well to United's defense. He's exactly the right back that United have needed. And therefore, I'll go for Trent Alexander-Arnold.
What a guy. So, so I'm going to move on. Trent Alexander-Arnold, right back, just done there. Left
just
back.
So many goals and assists, man. So it's I mean, in case we want to speak about it, because I think it's fair. I think for a fullback, he's had if Nani or if, let's say, Daniel James or let's say if any of our wingers put in a season that he's put in just in terms of goals and assists, it would have been phenomenal for them. And he's a defender.
100%.
I think
there's
absolutely to Trent.
He's sort of turned around the way a right back is looked at. He's sort of changed that position and everything.
Let's not forget he's not a seasoned winger. He's really young.
How old is he? 21?
21.
Dude, Liverpool's Gary Neville, man.
And he has great set piece taking ability as well. So it's all there. So great right back they have in there. Going to go to the other side of the defense, which is left back now. I'm going to go with Ben Chilwell. One, because Robertson, by his own standards, didn't have that good a season. He had his off games. That's my only other left back that is in contention. And also because of the 3-player Liverpool rule. And I want to save those players for elsewhere. So I'm going to go with Ben Chilwell for left back.
I am pretty much in agreement with Kern. Yes, Robertson for Liverpool was obviously the other consideration there. I am not keeping him in for the Liverpool rule or the 3-player per club rule. For me, Ben Chilwell, his impact really was felt even more after he got injured. Leicester just sunk after that. Yes, Ricardo Pereira on the other side was equally important, but I feel without him, they were still doing good enough a job. Ben Chilwell was the key factor for them. He's been there since last year. He's been a very pivotal performer for Leicester, building into England and working backwards, getting that form here. So I feel for them, without him, they were like a rudderless defense.
So I think it's decided then, Ben Chilwell. But I would have actually voted for someone who you would probably argue isn't a mainstream left back because he tends to play left wing back and right wing back. He's very versatile. And I think just because of the season that he's had, Matt Doherty from Wolves, I would have probably given my vote to him just because of his versatility. And I thought he's had a phenomenal season.
Yeah, fair,
Yep,
I guess.
fair.
But yeah.
Yeah, fair enough, but outvoted. Centre backs, I'm going to go to first centre back again. I think easy pick Virgil van Dijk.
Yeah.
Yep, solid season apart from one mistake at the end, after the title had been won and all of that in the league at least. So I think Virgil van Dijk.
No one cares. But no one cares.
Yeah. Yep. Second centre back is where I think my pick is going to be a little interesting. I'm going with Chris Basham of Sheffield United because the season they have had, their centre backs deserve a shout. They're pivotal to it. And there's no other centre back that stood out really for me. Maguire and Soyuncu have had their glitches and their mistakes and everything. And the way we said Nick Pope, with the money around him, he's done phenomenally. I think the same is to do with Basham with the quality of players on paper before the season started. Just because of that in the performance, but it could be any Sheffield United centre back. But I'm just going to go with Basham.
Abby, are you going with Maguire?
I am going with Harry Maguire, and I also want to say that it's quite interesting. He says it because even Alan Shearer picked out Basham in his Premier League team of the season. So good observation because it's not just like a random pick out. So obviously there's some value there. Right. But man, for me it's Harry Maguire because I know United finished well outside the top two, and a City fan would probably argue that hey, you know what? It's not just our attack, but we also kept the most clean sheets. So you definitely got to get our centre back in there. I think that argument is valid. But for me, it's Harry Maguire, man, because yes, his last 4-5 games for the club has been very, very shaky, and he's lost a bit of reputation and a little bit of confidence from the fans. But I think over 38 games, just by the sheer number of minutes he's put in, which is just as much as Van Dijk. So it's not like he's done anything heroic, but he's put in the same shift as Van Dijk, and I think he's one of the reasons United are sitting on a very confident number 3 because United's attack was nothing to speak of before heroic. January.
Because of what you said right now, it should be heroic for United fans at least. Because compared to last year's defense in the Premier League, not goals conceded overall this year, he's brought in the leadership. Simple as that, right?
Yeah.
For a side who was easily going to finish outside the top 5 because they would slip in some cheap goals. Yes, he is kind of responsible for the goals towards the end, but playing with injury and playing out every single game and leading a side and changing the way they completely play out from the back is a big thing to do within a year's time, which is why I think.
Yeah. In fact, just to add to that, man, like you said it spot on. He could have been the sole difference between Leicester finishing 5th and United finally. Leicester finishing 5th and United finally finishing 3rd. Just think about it.
So Harry Maguire clearly is the second centre back. I have been outvoted again. I do not like where this is going. I should have changed the rules and given myself a veto here. But okay, so that's our back 5 decided. Moving on into the attacking positions, we'll see whether it goes into a 4-2-3-1, 4-3-3, whatever as the names come out. I think the first 2 names, if we're just looking at a 3-man midfield, and again, I think this will be unanimous, but let's see how it goes. I think Kevin De Bruyne and Bruno Fernandes should just be in there. And for me, Kevin De Bruyne is also the player of the season, but I'm just going to put in something for Bruno Fernandes. I know he's only played half a season, but since he's come into United, the only players across the top 5 leagues in Europe who have had more goals and assists are Cristiano Ronaldo and Lionel Messi. So Bruno Fernandes has clearly put in the numbers which are phenomenal, and he's the sole reason why United are 3rd. I think there's nothing else to it. Before, if there's a BC and AD, then it's a before Fernandes and after Fernandes United. So which is why I think even though he's played only half a season, he's in the team of the year for sure for me.
100%. I don't think any other signing has had such an impact that Bruno Fernandes has had right off the bat from game 1. Let's not forget it's the Premier League. You had bigger players come in and give some sort of a struggle to get going, right? It's not easy to even switch inside. Internally in the Premier League to switch sides has not been easy. Just for that, the impact you can have on a side is something else. Okay, he got them on a winning run. United finished 3rd. They finished above Chelsea. Now, let's not get into that discussion. This is not a video for that. Simply based on what he did, because of his stats, what he did to the club, and where they finished, he deserves the immediate shoe into the side. The argument is he's not played a whole season, but look at the numbers speak for themselves.
Yeah. I won't harp on too much about him, man, because I think Kevin De Bruyne, just like Bruno Fernandes, if not better, has shown us consistently why He is definitely the best player in the Premier League. There's no two ways about it. And why he's right up there with like you said, with Ronaldo and Messi. He is right up there. Where he'll probably never ever scale up to their level is just for the purists who believe in numbers. Unfortunately, Kevin De Bruyne will never get you 50 goals in a season. Even if he's playing for PSG in the French league, he's not going to get you 50 goals. But yeah, what a season, what a player. And he's ginger, man. Sometimes I wish and I wonder. But anyway, yeah.
It's interesting you said that, Abhi, because the reason why he won't reach those numbers is you understand that as many shots and assists he provides, he's sitting so deep. That should tell you how versatile he is and the range he has. He's definitely the best midfielder in the Premier League for the last 2-3 seasons for me. Let's not go into the whole Liverpool Salah debate, but you get my point.
He's sorry. Parting comment on KDB for me is that he's in a way a Paul Scholes in so many ways, in the sense that absolute genius. But Paul Scholes also was never lauded as one of the best players in the world. Paul Scholes also never scored as many goals as the Ronaldos, Romarios, Rivaldos at the time, right? So for the United fans out there, and in a way, I know it's Man City and he's an enemy, so to speak, as a United fan, but in a way, it's so good to see that at least that has changed today amongst football fans, right? We still appreciate little geniuses like him, and a special shout out, obviously, to David Silva. What a career, what a player.
Anyone can deny, any opposition player can deny the quality of De Bruyne. That's the sort of player he is. While some of us might still hold some grudges against his Suarez, and people like me will never admit him to be a big player because of all his antiques. But Kevin De Bruyne, I think no rival can deny his quality. Also slightly controversial here. I'm also going to say that I don't think he's the player of the season ahead of Jordan Henderson. I don't know how the PFA picked Jordan Henderson. I think Kevin De Bruyne ahead of Jordan Henderson. So that might be something for Liverpool fans to comment on.
100%.
Potentially here. I'm going to go through the third midfielder now.
I shook my head there because I agree with you on us never being able to pick KDB over Henderson on the FPL. Sorry, not on FPL, but in the team of the 11, because KDB definitely deserves to be there. But I actually agree, and I understand why the football writers picked Henderson, but maybe that's for another day. We'll chat about it on another episode.
Yeah. Right. So the third midfielder, and this is where even when we restarted post lockdown, I was very confused because I don't think there's one person who's really stood out. And again, if Henderson were to come in there, then we lose out on the third Liverpool spot, which is what makes it slightly trickier. My third pick would probably be a Neves. Because Wolves are also a team that have done really well. So, someone from there deserves a shout in. I think Neves has done really well for them because especially Wolves have not been prolifically high-scoring teams. They've been teams that have got the goals in a control game. So that's where a Neves comes in. And my vote is to Neves.
I'm actually split between two players, and maybe I'll give you my two options and why, and I'll wait for Annie to give me his answer till I decide. But I'm very split between Wilfred Ndidi, who I think has been phenomenal for Leicester in being their sort of rock in taking them through the campaign. In fact, he's one of their best players before Project Restart. He was the reason why they were sitting 9 points steady on number 3. And the second player is the controversial one, which is if we're looking at shape formation of this team that we're making, right? We've got two attacking midfielders in De Bruyne and Bruno. I'm confused between him and Jordan Henderson from Liverpool. And I think Henderson is such an underrated player, I cannot tell you. And I'm saying so especially because I have gone on record in the past to say that he is the worst Premier League footballer I have watched in my life. Just seeing his transformation over the last 2 seasons. Last season, he was phenomenal. This year also.
Yeah, so interesting point, Abby. But I think I'll help you stop your Liverpool Wankfest or Henderson and go with Ndidi. The debate internally for me was, I picked Ndidi even earlier when we did the first video, when we discussed the till lockdown teams, right? Yes, they did drop from 3rd to 5th, but 5th place for Leicester City with the side they have is still a great achievement. Let's not forget that we assume that just because they finished in the Champions League position once and won the league, they should probably be in the top 4 every time. It's not a guarantee. So kudos to Brendan Rodgers there as well. And Ndidi was very, very pivotal to that side, which was facing so many injuries in defense, injuries in midfield. So I felt that he was the rock from which they based the formation, where Jose Perez, Maddison in the early season, Tielemans was so prolific because he sat and held that back for them. So they could be what they wanted to be and attack the way they wanted to attack. So I think we have Ndidi for me, Neves for Kern, and Abby was with Ndidi and Henderson. So I think if it goes to Ndidi, that's 2v1 again, Kern.
Yeah, the 0.5 for Ndidi takes it there. So that's 1.5 for Ndidi. All right, so moving on to the forward 3. again, I mean, I'm going to say something, but I'm not sure how unanimous we're going to be on this. But one of the three in the front three for me has to be Mane, and that's my third Liverpool pick. I think again he's been pivotal to Liverpool's scrappy 1-0s and 2-1s and 3-2s that they've got, which is got them this title win. So for me, it's Mane who has to be in that front three.
I think it's Mane for me too, and I think Abhishek last time also agreed Mane would be our third Liverpool pick, right? I think that was something I remember we all agreed on, only because people are talking about Mane post the lockdown where he was very patchy. Yes, he wasn't good, but that didn't really matter. What mattered was how he got them and where he got them in the games Kern mentioned where they were not doing too well and they were struggling to score. He got them the stoppage time winner against Newcastle. Those very important wins, right? And it was him when Salah was very patchy himself. Yep. Firmino not scoring. Simple walk-in.
Yeah, so Mane,
I just have one regret about Mane. I just have one regret as a United fan. Remember when Van Gaal was manager, we were linked to him. We were on the verge of signing him. And at that time, I didn't name him. I was like, hey, this is one of those Katra signings. Today when I look back, I'm like, dude, what a signing he's turned out to be for Liverpool.
Yep. So that's Mane picked in the front three. The other two, so what we had picked post-lockdown, I think was Aubameyang and Vardy. And I'm largely sticking with those two players still. Vardy, Golden Boot, Aubameyang, the number of goals he's got. And I know Arsenal fans are going to pick me on for this, but bear with me, for a mid-table team. They are a mid-table team, unfortunately, this season. The players around him have played like mid-table people, mid-table team. So just with all of that considered, I think Aubameyang, the goals he scored, the quality he's shown with the supply that he's had and with the bad results that Arsenal have had, is my third striker along with Vardy.
So I kind of agree with Kern. Vardy definitely should still be a sure in this side. Forget about the fact that he has the golden boot. Yes, Leicester did again drop off to where they did. But Jamie Vardy, for his age, for the striker that he was, to what he still is, to the consistency he shows, and he's the beating heart of the Leicester side in the end of the day, right? No matter how good indeed he has been, Soyuncu has been a difference in the team. Kasper Schmeichel has been a great keeper for them. Chilwell has been a great young winger for them, left back for them. Vardy not being there makes all of this redundant for me. So Vardy definitely goes in there. And I myself actually am a bit stuck between Aubameyang because I don't think he really could have been so much better, right? He really was very poor for a lot of chunks of the season. There were games against the smaller sides where he got those double goals where it really mattered for Arsenal. They're still, not in any European qualification spot. If they do get there, because of the FA Cup. If I have an alternative for him, I would still say Son Heung-min, only because Spurs end up finishing in Europe. Kane was missing, Dele Alli was missing, injured. So Son, even with his injuries and suspension, kept Tottenham just about ticking to get them where they were. And I think he's built up on last year's consistency for me, so performance-wise.
So it's going to be interesting. Just so everyone knows, Abby is having some audio issues, so he's sending his views on chat to us. I think he agrees on Vardy as well. The third one, and he's making this interesting, he's sending in Raul Jimenez. Just because he thinks that despite Aubameyang's contributions, it's not really led to Arsenal getting anything, whereas Raul Jimenez has been a lot more pivotal and a lot more critical with his goal scoring. So now we have Aubameyang, Son, and Jimenez for the third spot, and here is where my powers finally come in.
I edit my power.
Jimenez. I'm just going to go with Jimenez just because I think Son was also injured for a part of the season, so that sort of weighs off. And just in the end, in terms of contribution, Jimenez was just so pivotal to Wolves. Without him, there was no goals really coming in from anywhere. Yes, Traore contributed. But I think Jimenez was just about there. So Jimenez there with a slight mention to Son with the asterisks there on the side. So there you have it. That's our Premier League team 11 of this season. We're going to also come out with our worst 11 of this season. And we'd love to know what you guys think about both of our teams. So drop in your comments, hit subscribe. We are by no way done with our content. There's a lot of content still coming. We're going to be reviewing everything that's happened in the Premier League. The FA Cup is coming up. There's also Champions League football coming. There's transfers. There's the other leagues. There's so much football. So hit subscribe, share, comment, like, hit the bell icon so you get all the notifications. And we'll see you in the next one.